Hello, everybody. Welcome to the world's greatest Bronze Age comic book podcast, Flea Market Fantasy. I'm your co-host, Mike Allen, has always been joined by
Michael Dell of the LCS Hockey Radio Show.
That's right, and this week we have a very special guest returning after a 2-year absence, right?
That's right, Michael. Our old buddy Tuffy. Tuffy.
Oh.
Woo! There he is. Tuffy is a regular on the LCS Hockey Radio Show. He's also my personal attorney. So one day in the future, when I finally sue Mike L. for all the trouble he's caused me, Tuffy will be handling the case. Tuffy, you were on early on in the run of Flea Market Fantasy. We did Star Wars, because you're a big Star Wars fan. And that episode, of course, brought us with space hookers. We encountered space hookers, so that was great. But now, Tuffy, it's been about 2.5 years since you've been back. What took you so long?
I never got the invite.
I don't know if that's true. The only reason you're here now is because we finally watched Beastmaster on the LCS Hockey Show, so it was like a trade. Said, all right, Tuffy, we'll watch Beastmaster if you come on the Flea Market Fantasy Show, and here we are. And Tuffy, I asked you, because you're not really a big comic book reader, are you?
I was at one point, but not for a long time.
When you were a comic book reader, what were you reading?
Well, they were all old issues that I got, given to me. I didn't go to the store and buy new issues, but it was a lot of Spider-Mans.
Ah, Spider-Mans. Yeah.
Cool.
Captain America.
Hey, I like Captain America. Yeah, that's pretty good. So this week, Tuffy, I said, hey, you can pick whatever you want, as long as it's from the 1970s and 80s. And you gave it a lot of thought. And then what did you tell me?
Yeah, why don't you go ahead and pick?
Yeah, that's exactly right. Because Tuffy doesn't care. He doesn't care, Michael. So I know Tuffy likes the football. He's a big Chicago Bears fan, this Tuffy.
Yeah.
Loves the Bears. So I'm like, you know what we should do? Kickers, Inc. from 1986, issue number 4. Yeah, Kickers, Inc. Michael, have you ever read Kickers, Inc.?
Never.
Yeah, I never had either. Tuffy, had you ever heard of Kickers, Inc.?
No. And I wonder, because not to spoil it, but in this issue, all they do is play football. So I'm assuming there's actual superhero stuff in other issues of this. But
yeah, we'll talk about that here in a minute. Tuffy, are you even aware of the new universe, Marvel's new universe?
No.
All right, Michael, would you like to give the kids and Tuffy a brief overview of the new universe?
Well, the short version of it is that Jim Shooter wanted to celebrate the 25th anniversary of Marvel by launching a new line of, superheroes set more in the real world, right? So this is more like our world. There's no alien races. There's no hidden races. There's no, fantasy. It's just our world plus a little bit of superheroes. But what ended up happening was, by the time the project actually came out, they ran out of money, they ran out of talent, so they rushed everything out, and it was all complete shit, and they all got canceled within 2 years, and that's it.
Yeah, there are 8 books, and the tagline was, "The world outside your window." So it's just like your real world, except, like Michael was saying, no aliens, no super crazy technology, none of that stuff. But then, the first book they released had an alien in it. It's like, all right, well, I guess there goes that. I guess that doesn't really last.
Yeah.
But, Tuffy, do you feel bad that you missed the new universe?
No.
Yeah.
Not after reading this one.
Well, hey, spoiler alert.
I got to ask, though, Tuffy, wait, have you ever even heard of Starbrand? You must have heard of Starbrand.
Why would he hear
No.
Yeah, no one's ever heard of Starbrand. Who's heard of Starbrand? Yeah.
Everybody.
But, there were 8 books originally, and Kickers, Inc. was one of those 8 books. And then by year 2, 4 of them got canceled, and Kickers, Inc. was one of those 4 that got canceled. So it lasted 12 issues. And it was created by Tom DeFalco and Ron Frenz. They're to blame. But here's the thing. The original idea here, Michael, Tom DeFalco, he originally wanted to call this book Mr. Magnificent and His Team Supreme.
Yeah.
Right? And the characters are going to be off-season professional football players who went around the world having adventures. Kind of like my buddy Doc Savage, I guess. But also, he wanted to base it on an old DC comic book called Challengers of the Unknown.
Oh, yes, of course.
See, I'd never heard of that. Are you aware of that book?
Of course. Legendary. It's Jack Kirby's prototype for the Fantastic Four.
But I guess these fellas would go around and they'd encounter crazy shit. Like
Yeah, exactly. Like dinosaurs on an island and like time travel or whatever. Yeah.
So that was DeFalco's original idea. And he wanted them to be like fighting living islands and space monkeys and all kinds of stuff like that. But when he pitched it to Jim Shooter, who had this Marvel Universe idea about the world outside your window, he says, hey, that's great. But, all that crazy shit, tone that down, amp up the football. We want more football. So Tom DeFalco was not happy about that. But he went along with it. And then about maybe 2-3 issues in, he said, all right, I'm done. And he just washed his hands.
Yeah.
And even though this book was only around for 12 issues, it had 8 different writers and 6 different artists. So that's pretty good for a 12-issue run. The book centers on the team, the New York Smashers. Hey, Tuffy, that's still a better name than Washington Commanders, right?
Yeah.
Not bad.
Or Seattle Kraken.
I agree with you there, yeah. I guess, 30 years later, someone asked Jim Shooter, hey, what'd you think of that Kickers Inc. book? And he summed up the experience in one word, train wreck. So that's what we're getting into. Now, like Tuffy said, this issue's pretty football heavy. It's really just about football. But there are some other crazy plots. Some of the other books have to do with a mystery about a robot destroying an elderly woman's rose garden. That's the book.
Sounds good to me.
Then there's a clash with a dual-gender circus performer. So that's nice. One issue, an angry stewardess hijacks a plane. And then there's also an issue with UFOs and Bigfoot. So,
very original stuff there.
And football. Hey, Tuffy, you have to admit, though, if the Chicago Bears, in between quarters, they'd go investigate a old lady's rose garden that was being destroyed by a robot, that'd be way cooler than what they're doing on most Sundays. So.
It'd be a lot better than what they've done for the last, 5 or so years.
Yeah. So we'll get into there's 5 main characters, but we got the main quarterback, Jack. I forget his name. I don't know. We'll encounter it when we get into the book. Whatever.
Magna Conti,
kind of like Nick Bonaconti, the old linebacker from the Dolphins. Jack Magna Conti. He's Mr. Magnificent, they call him, because he's so good at quarterbacking, Michael.
Okay.
He's so good. But here's the thing, though, Michael. This Marvel Universe, there was a white event. Do you remember the big white event?
Yeah. Yep.
I think that white
in the
event.
New universe, you mean?
Oh, yeah. New universe.
Mm-hmm. And
I think that was created because didn't some space monkey put the star brand onto a rock or something, and it expelled all this energy, and it created a white flash throughout the planet. Were they on Earth? Was their planet called Earth? What was it called?
You mean yeah, of course. Yep.
Yeah. All right.
They had Pittsburgh.
Yeah, they had the New York Smashers, of course. So there's a white flash, and they call that the white event, and some random people around the globe got superpowers, all right? Like a handful or so.
Oh, I lost you again.
Holy fuck, Michael.
Hold on, what's going on here?
Going on?
Lost you again.
During
it must
Kickers
be
Inc.
Snow. Huh?
This has to happen during Kickers Inc.
Of all the episodes,
I know.
Can you believe it?
What the hell? Well, what should we even do?
Well, okay, I think you're okay right now, so you can just keep going again.
All right. So, what was I saying about Kickers Inc.? Oh, the white event, some random people got powers. So, but that's not how Jack Tuffy, what's his name?
Magna Conti.
Magna Conti got his powers. I guess the white event, maybe put some energy in him or something, but his energy didn't come out until his brother hooked him up to a scientific machine that increased his muscle mass and endurance. So the machine kind of triggered the latent energy in him from the white event, and that made him into a superhero. So he got real strong and durable and all that kind of stuff. But he couldn't fly, or he didn't have any of those powers. He was just a strong dude. But that's it. None of the other football guys on his team have any powers. But
wait, what?
Yeah. What were you confused about there, Tuffy? Because it sounds perfectly logical.
I just assumed they all had powers. Because this one, they don't really reference the powers because it doesn't come into play. But
Oh yeah. Only Jack, the quarterback, Mr. Magnificent, has the powers. The other guys are just football dudes. And we got Dasher, who's like the wide receiver. I forget his real name. It doesn't matter. They just call him Dasher. Then we got Brick, Brick Wall or Brick. He's the I think offensive lineman, and I think his real name is the character's name is Buford Wall. So they call him Brick Wall. And then there's another fella named Suicide. He's like the halfback, the running back, and so they're like the football guys. And then we have Jack's wife, Debbie, Donna. I don't know. Darlene. There it is. Thank God Tuffy's here. Mike L ain't helping at all. You know, he's just I don't know what he's doing. But Darlene.
No, I'm looking through the issue here, just like recapping.
And they call her Doll, but yeah, she doesn't have. So when he gets these superpowers, he feels bad because he's so good at football already, and now he's got superpowers. What the fuck? So he kind of feels bad. It's almost like cheating, and that he's winning these games. But so he tries to tire himself out before games. I'm guessing he really gives it to Darlene Good before the games to try and take his legs away or whatever. But he still keeps competing, and they get to the Super Bowl, and then some gangsters who funded his brother's experiment say, "Hey, brother, we're gonna you get your brother to throw the Super Bowl, or we're gonna kill you." And he says, "I can't ask my brother to do that." So Jack wins the Super Bowl, and the gangsters kill his brother. So now Jack is very upset by all this, and he says, "Well, I'm going to dedicate my life to fighting crime in honor of my brother." So they decide to have a little team together. They're going to be called Kickers Inc. because not one goddamn person on the team's a kicker. Even though, Tuffy, if they're called, you expected a field goal kicker to be part of this team, right? Not a goddamn one of them.
Yeah, almost exclusively field goal kickers.
Yeah, none of them. Offensive lineman, wide receiver, running back, and a quarterback. Not a goddamn kicker. But they're called Kickers Inc. And the reason they created this team, Michael, was because they needed a tax shelter.
Yes, what a great motivation for a superhero, right?
Like no jive. That is why they did it. Like they said, hey, we make a lot of money as football players, but we could use a tax shelter. So hey, let's create a superhero team and incorporate it. That way we can write it all off on our taxes. And that's why they became Kickers Inc. It's shocking that this book didn't succeed.
I just got to say, I actually did read number 1, and in the last few pages, they test that same machine that Mr. Magnificent used. They test it on all of the other members to see if they'll give them powers, but they never clarify if they get them or not. They just show them all using it. It's terrible.
Well, they don't get them, and the reason why they don't is because I guess they didn't have the white event affect them.
Right.
It was the combination of the two things, I guess.
Okay,
but
what a coincidence.
Yeah, it's crazy like that. But there it is, Kickers Inc. I think that's all the background you need there on the Kickers Inc. Tuffy, any questions about Kickers Inc. before we get into this?
I have a lot of questions, but I don't think there's any you can answer.
All right. Overall, Tuffy.
Does everybody know that they are this superhero agency? Or
that's a giant corporation, incorporated company there. They got this big skyscraper building, and they all have offices and secretaries and everything. So they all know they're moonlighting. Tuffy, could you imagine if the Chicago Bears, during the game week, they're out moonlighting as superheroes? How would you feel about that, Tuffy?
Not great. So the other team knows that these guys are like a detective squad in their spare time?
Yeah, but no one knows that Jack has superpowers.
Okay.
They know that they're going around to investigate crazy shit, but they don't know that he has superpowers. Because in this book, we see he's kind of nervous. Well, we'll get into it later, but they start drug testing. And he's like, uh-oh, my pee is probably going to melt that cup. What can I do? So, that's Kickers Inc. for you. Michael, anything else about Kickers Inc. that you would like to share?
Who, me?
Yes, Michael. Yes.
Oh, I couldn't hear you because it was cutting out. The
Oh,
only thing
my
I could
goodness.
say is that if we were going to review any of these issues, we probably picked, one of the worst ones, because at least the first 3 had art by Ron Frenz, and this art is by, who is it?
I like this
Howard
art.
Bender. It's
I didn't mind
okay.
this art. Yeah, I didn't mind
It's
this art.
okay. Howard Bender and Art Nichols. It's okay, but it could be better.
But I picked this specifically because it was football centric, and I know Tuffy likes the pigskin, so that's why we went with this. And this is also the writer here is actually Terry Kavanagh. The book is credited to Tom DeFalco, Terry Kavanagh, and another fella named Ron Altaville, who I never heard of. Have you ever heard of Ron Altaville, Michael?
Never heard of him. No.
He was like credited as assistant or something, but he has 5 credits. They're all Kickers Inc. So he's probably just like the office boy or something.
Right.
But yeah, Terry Kavanagh, he was a Marvel editor from 1985 to 1997, and this is actually the first comic book he ever wrote. Because when Tom DeFalco said, "I'm fucking done with this bullshit," Jim Shooter said, "Hey Terry, we need someone. Guess what? You're a writer now." So he's like, "Oh, all right, all right, Kickers Inc." So he did a few issues of it. But yeah, that's it. And then you mentioned Howard Bender is the artist. He had 6 credits at Marvel. He did an issue of What The, an issue of Peter Porker, 2 Micronauts. We've still never done the Micronauts, Michael. And an issue of Silverhawks.
Oh, nice.
But he was a kind of popular at DC, though, Michael. He did a lot of stuff at DC.
Yeah, that's what I think I know him from. Didn't he do like Infinity? No, he didn't do Infinity. What did he do? All-Star Squadron. I'm looking through his list
H
here.
for Hero, I guess.
Oh, you dial H for Hero. Yes, of course.
Tuffy's a big fan of Dial H for Hero, I'm sure.
Yeah.
You're already regretting the decision to come back on the show. I can just hear it in your voice.
The lesson I learned is next time, just find a comic book myself. Don't let Mike Dell pick.
Exactly.
So come on, Kickers Inc. How many chances in life do you get to experience a football comic book? Not very often. I mean, it's pretty good. I don't know. Michael, can you think of another comic book set? Well, I guess Marvel came out with another one later, right? Didn't they have some, like in the 90s? Didn't they have some sort of...
I was going to say, I know there's another one, but I can't remember what it's called. Oh,
like
NFL Super Pro.
Yeah, NFL Super Pro.
Wow.
Tuffy's got all the back issues at home, but he just doesn't want to admit it. But yeah, NFL Super Pro.
Yeah.
So, all right, well, let's just get to the book, I guess.
Well, The Dark Knight Rises has football in it, so there's probably football somewhere in a Batman.
There you go.
Right, Hines Ward returning a kickoff. That's yeah, Michael, you know that movie, your beloved movie, that was shot in Pittsburgh there. You know that.
Really? Maybe I knew that.
Right.
That's pretty cool.
Anyway, hey, by the way, the artist there, that fella Harold Bender or whatever, he was born in Howard. He was born in Cleveland, Ohio, raised in Pittsburgh.
Oh, cool! Look at that! Look at all the connections, eh?
Yeah.
Another good reason to read this.
There's nothing but good reasons to read Kickers Inc. All right, let's get to it. Again, Kickers Inc. issue 4, 1986.
And feel free to jump in and help me anytime you guys like, okay?
Because in other words, you didn't read this.
I did. Trust me. I don't remember any of it, but I did read it. Anyway, now I got to point out a couple things. Considering this is supposed to be the new universe, right, separate from Marvel, the first thing I noticed is that the title of this book is Cry Vengeance, right? Which is a very Stan Lee-esque title. I'm sure you guys agree, right?
I guess. I didn't really know.
Come on. Number 1 is called Birth of a Hero. Stan Lee. Number 2, Where Walks the Robot. Very Stan Lee, right?
I guess, but you want them, because it's in a universe, to come up with a whole different language, or
yeah, well, no, but instead of I mean, not even DC uses those types of like pseudo Shakespearean titles. That's all I'm saying, you know.
Oh, all right, I'll take your word for it.
All right. So anyway, yep, Cry Vengeance. That's a Shakespearean quote, right? Macbeth, I think. Anyway,
again, I'll take your word for it.
I'm more well-read than you guys. Anyway, okay, so yeah, we got this opening splash page here of Mr. Magnificent, right? He's like showing off his strength by, what is this, like a, this is
you're just going to skip the cover entirely, or what are you going to do?
Oh, yeah, that's right. We usually talk about the cover.
Yeah.
So on the cover, this is kind of like the bad guy of the book. What's his name again? Ugly something?
Yeah, Ugly.
Thornton or something like that?
Yeah, we'll just go Ugly Thornton.
Ugly Mac Thornton, yeah.
He's a linebacker for the opposing team.
So on the cover, Ugly Mac Thornton is just about to maim and or kill. No, he maims him. He maims. What guy is this again that he maims?
Just some rookie. Yeah, rookie wide receiver, like Tompkins or something, or Hopkins. Dawkins.
Yeah. And in the background, we see Mr. Magnificent running towards them to like help him, and he's being held back by a couple other players. And in the background, we see another player, and then we see like the crowd of the bleachers. But there's no text, there's no title, there's no description. At the top, it just says New Universe, and then it says Kickers Incorporated or Inc. And then we got the classic Marvel box at the top with a nice Ron Friends shot of Mr. Magnificent.
But Mike,
That's pretty much it.
The ink in the Kickers Inc. It's in a football. The ink part.
Good point.
Also, we should mention the Mr. Magnificent there. He has white hair because when he got his superpowers, like his hair turned white as well. Something like that. But
and
Tuffy,
also, I was gonna say it's drawn by Tom Morgan. Not that that matters, but anyway.
Hey, Tuffy.
Yes.
What do you think of this cover?
It's interesting. I feel like there would be a lot more people intervening in one football player threatening to punch another football player prone on the ground.
Well,
maybe
it's
some
all right. I mean,
involvement.
We see in the book that one football player paralyzes another one. He didn't even get flagged or anything, so I don't think we have to worry about. No one seems real concerned.
In the 80s, that's just good, clean football.
I suppose. Yeah. Michael, do you watch a lot of the NFL football? I know you're way into the Canadian football. Do you watch
not even
football?
close. Nope.
Did you have money on the Super Bowl, Michael?
Nah, I didn't watch it. I've never seen a Super Bowl.
Never?
Never. Nope. I mean, maybe it was on in the background, but I've never sat down and watched one. No.
Well, how about a Grey Cup?
Bowl, or Grey Cup?
Yeah. Have you ever watched the Grey Cup, Mike?
Never. Nope.
All right, fair enough. Would you watch the Grey Cup if Mr. Magnificent was quarterback?
Oh, absolutely. You got to have some superpowers in there somewhere to get me involved, right?
All right. So here we go. The big splash page now. Cry Vengeance, as Michael pointed out, is the title of this issue.
Yep.
And Michael, look at this first splash page, though. Like, if someone told me, hey, that's John Romita Jr. from 1986, I'd be like, yep, that's John Romita Jr. from 1986.
I'll give you that. That's pretty. Yeah, it's pretty solid. Not bad.
But I mean, look at his legs and the guy in the background. That's John Romita Jr.
Yeah, I could. Yeah, it's true. It's solid anatomy. Yeah, it looks like John Romita Jr. for sure.
Yep. So, all right, take it away, Michael.
So, Mr. Magnificent is balancing a piece of. This is equipment, right? Like workout equipment, I think.
Yeah, it looks like a bench machine.
Yeah, and he's and then basically one of the other players comes in. He's like.
That's suicide.
That's suicide, right? He's like, and he comes in and he's like, I don't even know what he was saying. Because he's like, oh, look, you're doing this right before a big exhibition game. You'll be exhausted. And see, I didn't realize that they didn't know that he had superpowers. I thought they all knew. But they must know.
Well, suicide knows, but like the world at large.
Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Gotcha. The pub.
The other.
No.
Yeah, the other Kickers Inc. know, but even the other, like the coach doesn't know. The other guys on the team don't know.
Okay.
It's just, all right, someone's calling me.
Mike Dell's a busy man, eh?
Yeah. Mike L's text message coming through.
Yeah.
Probably. Anyway, so he's trying to tire himself out before the game. So he's not just bench pressing one plate of a machine. He's bench pressing the entire machine. He's like doing squats with it and shit.
Yeah,
right.
Trying to tire himself out.
And it's because he feels like he's not challenged anymore, right?
Yeah, it's too easy.
Right. So he got superpowers, but now everything's too easy. Right. So then, he's like, yeah, what if I hurt somebody? And the other guy's got this gigantic bubble trying to convince him why it's a good idea. And he's like, hey, it gives us job security, whatever, right? So then we cut over to the coach, telling everybody, I want 110% from everybody today. You got to play your heart out, blah, 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 all that stuff. But look at these giant word bubbles that no one wants to read, right? I didn't want
Terry Kavanagh. It's his first time at writing a book, and it kind of shows, right?
Exactly.
Putting too many words in there.
Uh-huh. Yeah, who wants to read this stuff? So anyway, skip it all. Okay, so then we go to the game.
No.
Wait.
You're not giving Kickers Inc. the respect it deserves. Okay. Tuffy, first of all, Tuffy, this coach seems like a real dick, right? This guy here?
Yeah, this is their third preseason game, I think, and the coach is really on their ass about... Sorry, can I swear?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Coach is really on their ass about, you guys better, I don't want anyone treating this like it's only an exhibition. We need to try. And it's like, nobody tries in the preseason except the 5 or so guys that are on the border of getting cut or not.
Yeah, but they have like Mr. Magnificent playing all 60 minutes, in the third exhibition game. They have everybody playing. They have their number 1 rookie draft pick getting paralyzed in it because they just want to do that. But Tuffy, first of all, Tuffy, thanks for being a loyal fan of the show. That you don't know we don't even fucking swear on the goddamn show. Tuffy says shit that he reveals himself right there is never hearing the goddamn show. It's all right, Tuffy. Don't worry.
Program on my podcast player that automatically bleeps out any curse words.
Oh, okay. Yeah. That's true. But so this coach is trying to rile him up for this exhibition game. But before that, he says, all right, line up. He reads off some names and he says, you guys got to test for, we're testing you guys for drugs. And it's not even steroids. They're just testing them for recreational drugs. Because, Tuffy, did you notice the one guy, he says, thank you very much, Mercury Morris. Now, that's an NFL reference that I'm guessing Mike L didn't pick up on.
Not at all.
Mercury Morris was a halfback for the undefeated Miami Dolphins in 1972. But then he ran afoul of the law. He got in trouble with the cocaines, and he was arrested. And put in the jail.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it caused an embarrassment for the league and whatnot. So now even though in the new, here's a question I have for you there, Mike L. This is the new universe. What the fuck is Mercury Morris doing in the new universe? I just thought of that.
Well, the new universe is the real world, remember?
Yeah, this is right outside your door.
Yeah, see?
Or your window.
So I can look right outside my window and see Mercury Morris shooting a line right off a hooker's ass? Is that what I'm... But wow, how about that? Mercury Morris is in the new universe. I had no idea. But anyway, so these players, they got to line up for the old drug test. But the other guys, they're like, hey, I'm not taking a drug test. That's fucked up. That's an invasion of privacy.
Right.
And then like pretty soon they're going to be testing for steroids. And but we don't see good old Mr. Magnificent. He's hiding out behind the lockers. He's like, oh man, everyone's gonna know I'm a superhero if I pee in a cup. What can I do? I guess he'd have superpowered urine. Would they be able to test for superpowers? Is that a thing they could do in 1986? I don't know.
Not in the real world, at least, right?
Yeah. Not outside my window, they couldn't.
Yeah. Did you notice that the coach actually says, where does he say, and fill it up, or grab a cup and fill it up? I'm surprised they got that, graphic in a kid's comic,
Grab a cup and fill it up.
Yeah.
We should start drug testing before our guests come on.
Yeah.
So, I have my doubts about Kevin Jank. I'll be honest. I think. But anyway. So now we get to the big game here, and go ahead, Mike. I'll resume.
So then, they're playing and playing.
Well, no, Mike.
What do you mean? That's what they're doing.
They're getting into the warm-ups. And Tuffy, during the warm-ups, this other team, who's the other team they're playing?
The Austin Wreckers.
The Austin Wreckers. But Tuffy, right now, just in the warm-ups of the game, the Austin Wreckers kill the rookie. They all jump on their own rookie and beat the shit out of their own rookie.
Their own rookie.
Yeah. What the hell? Never seen such a thing. Oh my goodness.
They're trying to intimidate the Smashers.
Mm-hmm.
By beating up their own rookie. I don't know. At this point, I'm pretty... I did read that Terry Kavanagh wasn't a sports fan, and he really didn't know anything about football. And I think this shows. Because, you're not going to go beat up your own rookie to intimidate the other team. What the fuck is that? So, there you go. But anyway, all right, so now the game starts, Michael. Now the game starts.
So, yeah, they're playing, right? And then
I want Mike L to write a football comic book. I want to see what that's like.
Yeah. Very entertaining. I don't know. These rules, they seem to be following the rules, I think. I don't know. From what I can tell.
Suicide complains about a late hit. He's complaining that there's no flag.
Yeah.
Yeah, what does that mean?
So once you're tackled and the referee blows the whistle, you're not allowed to go hit other players anymore.
Oh, right. Gotcha. That makes sense.
You know what a flag means, right, Michael?
No.
Holy hell. Canadians. And if there's a rules violation, the referee throws a yellow flag.
Oh yeah, makes sense. Of course.
And then a late hit would be 15 yards.
Okay.
Yeah.
So then basically that ugly Thornton guy, he tackles, which player does he tackle?
The rookie wide receiver. But we should also mention that Dasher, part of the Kickers Inc. fella, he's a wide receiver, and he's kind of like a veteran, and he's worried about this rookie possibly taking his job. And we see Dasher drop a pass.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Hits him right in the hands, and he drops a pass. So we get a subplot here about the veteran worried about his job. And then the rookie comes in, though. They call the same play.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Tuffy.
They run the exact same play. The rookie's wide open, runs down for the touchdown, and then ugly Thornton comes in with a late hit and snaps his back.
Yeah, it's kind of like Bane and Batman.
Right.
Snaps his back.
We actually see the sound effect snap.
Yeah. Yeah, his spine.
And then it's like within minutes. Then we see them loading him into an ambulance, right? And then we see Mr. Magnificent. What? They're laughing. What kind of monsters are they? And we see the team actually laughing. Ha ha ha
Yes.
ha ha.
The Austin Wreckers are laughing that they paralyzed a young man.
Yes. Oh man,
yeah.
this is good. And
So
so then, go ahead.
Well, Mr. Magnificent rips off his helmet, and we see him run. He looks like Quicksilver running at them all, and he just starts tossing dudes left and right, just knocking them out of the way because he wants to go get that ugly Thornton guy or whatever the fuck his name is. And but then, only then does the referee blow the whistle. And what does he do, Michael? He throws Mr. Magnificent out of the game.
Right.
Not the guy who
Just
severed a
broke someone's
dude's spine.
back.
You're okay, fella. But you, Mr. Magnificent, you're out of here. And he just kicks him out of the game. Man alive.
And then he's like, he's not worth it. He's not worth it. He's not worth it yet. Right?
Yeah, yet.
And then we see he's having nightmares, and then he wakes up and we see the sound effect snap again, right? So he's having nightmares about the broken back, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he's in bed with his lady, Darlene. And notice he's got the pajama bottoms on, and Darlene's got the pajama top on.
Ooh, nice little subtle touch there. I like that.
What a couple they are. A loving couple. Sharing pajamas.
Yep.
Yeah.
So yeah, he's basically saying that she kind of can see that he wants to get revenge. And she's like, you can't do it. With your strength, you could murder him, And he's like, I know. And then he punches the windowsill and it cracks, right?
Yeah, he just breaks the window.
Right. So he's got like a dilemma here. He wants revenge, but he knows that even if he tries to get revenge, he might kill the guy, which he kind of wants to do anyway, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
Right. So he's like, well, what am I going to do then, right? So now we have one of those classic Jim Shooter moments. I can't, but I must, right?
Well, he doesn't have to kill him. Like, that would imply he must kill him.
Okay.
No.
Okay.
But
He wants to kill him.
He has to be the better man. Yeah.
Yeah. There you go.
Then, Tuffy, we go to the football practice the next day, and the coach is yelling at Mr. Magnificent, Magna Conti. He's like, hey, you need more practice than anybody, buddy. So he flips him a football, and what happens?
The ball goes thwit in all the air.
That's exactly right. But why does it go thwit and all the air goes out of it?
I had no idea reading it what happened in that frame. Later, he surmises that somebody must have shot it with a rifle.
Yeah. Yeah, someone shot it with a bullet. Boom. I think they would have been able to figure that out at the time, right? Like if they would have just been there.
You would have heard the gunshot.
But apparently no one even thought it was weird. There's like, wow, that ball just exploded for no reason. I wonder why that happened.
Well, the reporters will back and check it out because they got it all on video.
Yeah. You also have the ball right there. Look for a bullet hole. That would be my first. But yeah, so there's another subplot going on here that we learn about coming up. There's a lot of stuff going on in this book. And,
so then Mr. Magnificent goes back to the locker room and he finds, like, I guess he'd call this an effigy, right?
Yeah, a little like voodoo doll.
Yeah.
Like a little voodoo doll in his locker.
Yeah, and then now this is where it's, again, awkwardly written because he opens up the locker and he's like, what the? Very funny, guys. And then one of the other guys says, "What's the problem, Jack?" And he says, "Sorry, my mistake. It's just a little gift from the Fist gang. Those terrorists? I thought we took care of them in the off-season. So did I. Since their entire headquarters was destroyed in an explosion, this must be from one of their stragglers. Just forget about it." What?
Yeah, and again, it's a little doll of Mr. Magnificent. It has a note pinned to it with a knife in the chest. And he's like, just forget about it. It's probably nothing important.
Okay.
And we don't find out on the note either.
Yeah, that's a good point, Tuffy. I don't think he ever says what's on the note there. But I like that close-up view of him and the heavy inks around the eyes and stuff. Look at that. It's
It's okay.
Good panel. It's a serious panel there, Michael.
Okay.
Like, oh, man. So now they go out to go have some fun, like the football players do. You know, they go out together and they bang some ladies at nightclubs and stuff. By the way, I should mention Suicide is the running back there, and in this issue he's depicted as a white fella. But I think in issue 1 and 2 or so he was like a dark-skinned fella, and then they screwed up coloring him, and they never realized it, and they just kept him as a white fella the rest of the way.
Wow.
So yeah, how about that?
Yeah.
So yeah, I read this page. I don't remember what happens here. Does anyone else? Tuffy, do you remember?
Well, they're just at the.
I read this at 6 o'clock tonight. Anyway, go ahead.
Well, they all
just
some beers, but Mr. Magnificent gets an orange juice at the bar.
Yeah, because he's a good guy, you know. He doesn't have beer; he has orange juice.
Mm-hmm.
And he wants to make sure his wife doesn't find out about the note from the Fist gang.
Yeah, because she'll be worried about him, you know.
Yeah.
Fist gang.
She's also part of Kickers Inc.
Yeah, she's kind of like their, I don't know, their administrator, their CEO, or however you want to say it. I don't know. But they're also talking about Dash, that he's a little concerned now. You can tell something's wrong with him, you know? He has, his mind's elsewhere. He has internal conflict, this Dasher fella.
Yeah, and he's not sad because the guy got his back broken. He's sad because he doesn't feel anything for him, good or bad. He better him than me.
Right.
Yeah, he's kind of like, well, at least I got my job still. So, you know, whatever. Not a big deal. But you notice on that one page, after they leave the bar there, but Tuffy, if you look at the first panel after they leave the bar, before Mr. Magnificent goes to talk to Dasher, he's holding a purse. Why is he carrying a purse?
That's a good point.
It's European.
I don't understand why he's carrying a purse.
And athletes, you know, that's probably just high fashion.
I suppose. I know nothing of that. But yeah, we get to, and there's another panel that looks really like a John Romita from 1986 when Dasher turns and looks over his shoulder. That's
yeah, but look at that next one though. When he's holding him up in the air, that's pretty brutal.
It's not bad.
But if you were to hold a guy up like that, his legs would not be parallel to the ground, right?
Well, but it is because he's so strong. He like flew him up so fast that his legs were flying up like that. You know.
Okay.
Yeah. Because he even tells him that, like, hey, whoa, watch it. You'll wrinkle my wrinkle-proof camel hair coat. You don't know your own strength yet. Look at that. He's way too strong.
Right.
Yeah. Then we get back to a football game. We see them. They won their fourth preseason game. So now they're 3-1 in the preseason, and they're set up for a great regular season. Because Tuffy, as a football fan, one thing you know is the preseason matters. People were they really get excited.
To explain to Mike L, no one cares about their preseason record.
Yes, no one cares.
In football, you mean?
Yeah.
Really?
Like they're getting really excited about these exhibition games. No one gives a
of
fuck.
Course. Yeah, makes sense.
And so we see him in the locker room again, and Suicide just in his underpants. And there's also another guy here, some big angry rookie guy who's like smashing lockers. We never even get his name though, do we? I mean,
nope.
Oh no, Brick.
No, Brick's the offensive lineman, the bald black.
Oh, okay.
That's I don't know. But so then we cut to Darlene, his wife, Jack's wife, and she shows up a newspaper. It says "Day of Vengeance draws near," and she starts yelling at Jack, "Hey, you better not kill that guy!" You know?
Yeah, and they're just like sitting around their house, and for some reason she's wearing like a swimsuit, I guess.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah, she's looking good though, darling.
Yeah, it's a nice shot there. Some good art.
Yeah. So, but Darlene's like, "Hey, you better not be killing that guy." And again, my guy, look at all the dialogue. Holy fuck!
Yeah, it's way too
Harry
much.
Kavanagh writing a novel in
Yep.
each panel.
Uh-huh.
And, but then she says, "What could I expect from a dumb jock?" Holy hell!
Yeah.
You're married to this man. What are you doing? This isn't some guy that picked you up at a club there. This is your husband. Calling him a dumb jock. And then the next panel there, she's like, "I'm sorry. I didn't mean to call you a dumb jock, even though you're a dumb jock. Forgive me." And he's like, "Darlene, baby, as long as you wear that swimsuit around the house, you're A-okay with me." And then the phone rings, and he's like, "Hello?" And there's just a voice on the other end saying, "Expect a present this Sunday, superstar." Uh-oh.
Yeah.
So he's scared. The fist gang is going to get him. And he accidentally smashes the telephone in his hand. And he tells his wife, "Oh, it was a muscle spasm. You know how it is." "Now come here, baby. Let me hug you." "No, thank you. You could break me in half." Your muscle spasms. So, all right. Now, we get a shot at their office now, all right? He goes to the office.
Yeah.
Tuffy, what happens here? Go, look at that. Holy fuck. Look at that panel at the bottom of the page.
Exactly. That's what I'm talking about. All these thought bubbles, right?
There's 6 thought bubbles in an actual vocalized text. And it is a lot. Man.
Yeah. Yeah, Mr. Magnificent both wants to get vengeance on Ugly Thornton, but also is worried that he could be assassinated by the Fist Gang, and he's not sure if it's worth playing a football game if he could die, but also he has to get his revenge on Ugly Thornton. And then
but he also go ahead, Tubby.
He finds the info on Thornton he asked his secretary to dig up a few weeks ago. He forgot all about it.
Yes. Yeah, and the secretary found out that he had Ugly Thornton has a wife and a couple kids. And if you look closely, you can see a picture of them having a picnic. How about that? Having a picnic.
He's got two.
Yeah, so he feels terrible about that. He's like, "Oh, I can't kill a guy with a wife and kids. What am I going to do?"
Yeah.
Tricky.
And I feel like, because he doesn't really take it easy on him in the game later.
Not really. Well, he doesn't kill him, though. So, plus.
But then he says, he hears footsteps, and he's like, probably just the janitor. He's got me hearing footsteps everywhere I go. He's like, hearing footsteps? That's it, right? And he figures out how he's going to win the day, right?
Yeah, he's going to try and get in his kitchen, as we like to say, Mike. Yeah. You're familiar with that expression, right? He's going to get in his head, Oh,
no, I never heard that expression before, but now I know.
Oh. All right, you got to learn you up on your sports terminology.
Yeah.
Get in his kitchen. But, he's going to try and play some mental warfare with old Ugly Thornton. So he sends him a message saying, "Hey, you got to go..." Or doesn't he send him a photograph or something? Like a Polaroid?
Yeah.
Like, what's the photo? His family having the picnic? Is that what he sent him?
It must be, but they don't show it.
Yeah, they never say what it is. I'm going to assume it's Mr. Magnificent's dick. So he tells him to meet him at the gym. So Ugly Thornton shows up at the gym there, Tuffy. And what happens there?
Mr. Magnificent's lifting a barbell, and he tosses it to Ugly Thornton, who says, "Is that supposed to scare me or something? I didn't come all the way down to this lousy neighborhood to play catch with a dumbbell. Then Mr. Magnificent grabs it back and ties it up like a pretzel.
Yeah.
And then he grabs like 3 or 4 more and just starts tying them up and tossing them at Ugly Thornton.
Yeah, it's kind of weird because like Ugly Thornton's catching them all, I guess, and then he eventually collapses.
Yeah.
But it was weird. It was awkward.
It's very awkward. He's like throwing them, and then he's like, "Ready? Hey, how can you nobody's that strong. You're not human. Stop. Hey, hold it. And he's like, God, like, this would kill him. I mean, unless he's catching them all, right? Like, come on.
Like, I don't think anyone could catch a dumbbell thrown at them either.
No,
you know
I don't think so.
That's not like if he caught that, he's superpowered as well.
Right.
It's not a dumbbell. It's like a full like barbell. Like
Yeah.
one
bench
hander.
press bar. Yeah. And so Mr. Magnificent says he leaves him pinned there under all the weight, and he says, "Exactly. Think what I can do. See you on the field tomorrow, there, fella or pal, whatever he says." So he's just trying to get him scared before the big game. Yeah. So then Michael, when the game starts, though, the wide receiver that was paralyzed is right near the bench in a wheelchair.
Yeah.
So that's pretty good.
Make him feel guilty, right?
Yep.
Says, "Give him me." For Magnificent.
Yeah, give him one from me. So Tuffy, what does Mr. Magnificent do to Thornton in the game?
First, he beans him in the back of the head with a pass.
That's right. Now, my question is that why did he have his back to the quarterback there? He looks like he's rushing him. And then he somehow spins around.
He might have dropped into coverage. Maybe a fake blitz.
I suppose, yeah. Cover like a cover two, and he had to feel the all right. See that?
So after that, he goes for a QB sneak, I think, and just plows into him.
Yep. And he just roughhousing old ugly Thornton, and then Thornton's helmet. I guess he knocks his helmet off him because his helmet goes away, and and Thornton's terrified of him. He's like, "Oh my God, you're gonna kill me! Please don't kill me!" And he goes crawling over to the dude in the wheelchair. He's like, "Oh please, I'm sorry." And because Mr. Magnificent's like, "Don't apologize to me. Talk to him." And he says, "Hey, I'm sorry I broke your back. I didn't mean it. You'll get over it. Just walk it off." "Oh, I'm sorry. You can't." But then Mr. Thornton, Ugly Thornton, he just buries his head and starts crying like a child, right? He's just so scared.
Yeah, Magnificent demands that he quits playing football forever.
It's like, oh no.
Ever want to see you in a football uniform again?
I promise. I won't do it again. Yeah, notice he says I won't do it again. I think he's referring to paralyzing someone. Yeah. And Mr. Magnificent's like, no, I don't want you to ever play football again. You have to get a new job. Oh,
yeah.
Oh. But then Thornton's teammates are even dragging him off the field then because he lost his mind. He's like, oh, no, I'm so scared of him. And then they play the game, and the New York Smashers win the game 14-6.
Yeah.
You have Mr. Magnificent. You can't. And the offense only produced 7 points because Dasher also returned a kickoff for a touchdown. So Mr. Magnificent, he gets 7 points? Come on, what the hell? What's the point of even having superpowers?
The night before, bending all those dumbbells and then, maybe bending Darlene around a little bit.
That's right. Stole his legs. He can only get 7 points. So, but they win the big game, and they're all very excited. Who cares? All right, that one guy's paralyzed. No big deal. We won the game. That's what matters. So then they go back inside, and he goes into his locker, and he's kind of relieved that, hey, that Fist Gang never shot me during the game. So that's a win for me. And he goes to his locker. He opens up his locker. What does he find, Michael?
He finds a basket with a note on it that says, "Have a nice day." Oh, shit, I can barely read this. What does it say? I'll never know which
one will be your last.
Oh, will be your last. Yeah. Oh, you'll never know which one will be your last.
Which will be your last from the Fist.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, he thought it was going to be like a bomb or something, but it's just a basket of flowers.
Right.
They were just trying to psych him out so he didn't play well.
Yeah, just like he did to Thornton.
Right.
He did the same thing.
And then he's like, the joke's on me. Fist is trying the exact same psych job of me that I got Thornton with. Good luck, Mr. Fist. I like to think that I'm made of sterner stuff.
But maybe that's why he only got one touchdown in the game.
I suppose he was so worried he's going to get shot while he was beating the hell out of Ugly Thornton the whole game. Yeah. So now we cut to the Kickers Inc. Big office building there, with a big giant K on it for Kicker. And they have all these secretaries, a whole wall of secretaries answering calls. These Kickers Inc. They're very popular. And they're talking about all these cases. There's something like a UFO sightings and all these unnatural occurrences they're going to have to go investigate. But then there's a kid that calls and he says, "Hey, they kidnapped my mommy. My daddy, somehow my mommy left, and my daddy says she's good with her. She's better off with her freak friends or something."
She's he took her to a special hospital last summer. He told me it was just for some tests or something, but now they won't even let him talk to her.
Yeah, and his mommy's real foxy, and they show a picture of her, and then but it turns out, Mike, his mommy is part of DP7.
Right.
Now, do you know who his mom is? Like I don't know any of the DP7.
No, I never read DP7, but it's definitely on the list because it's written by Mark Grenwald.
Yeah, Tuffy, that's another Marvel New Universe DP7.
Yeah.
And that's then they show them at the bottom there of the page, all the DP7 kids, and I guess they're going to be in the next issue. These freaks are made for fighting, featuring DP7. How about that? So
it's pretty exciting.
That's the end.
Woo! Big cliffhanger there, right?
We'll have like actual superhero stuff or Kickers Inc. work and not just 2 football games.
I got to tell you, though, again, the book's called Kickers Inc. We didn't see a goddamn kicker in the whole thing. I want to see a kicker. Show a punter at least. Do something.
They started this Kickers Inc. as a tax shelter, but they must have had a pretty big layout for that gigantic office building, and
I know
they're paying for.
Yeah.
They don't just have like a little storefront on a strip mall somewhere. No, it's like a 30-story building with a giant K on it. Kickers Inc. All right, I guess. I don't know, but so there you go, Kickers Inc. Tuffy, how do you feel? You've experienced Kickers Inc.
I think I understand why it only went 12 issues, you said?
Yes. Not enough football. That's what I would assume.
Not enough kickers anyways.
But I think, Tuffy, now that we've read issue 4 when it centers on football, we really got to read another one when it's non-football centered, right?
I don't know. Well, especially knowing that only one of them actually has like superpowers or some kind of powers.
Yeah.
Because he's just like really strong. That's all he has.
Yeah, and durable and stuff. I think he could take a bullet and it wouldn't bother him. I read on his profile. So, that kind of thing. But,
and he only scored 1 touchdown.
I know, it's crazy. Yeah, that's a hell of a defensive coordinator on the other end of that field there. Bill Belichick, a young Bill Belichick was coaching against him in 1986. So, Mike, what do you think, Kickers Inc.?
Oh, this could be the worst comic we've ever reviewed.
No. I enjoyed Kickers Inc.
Ooh, man, I don't know. I can't even think of one that's worse. I know there might be one, but
what are you talking about? You pick a worse one every other week.
This is bottom 3 for sure. Bottom 3.
What was the one that Brandon came on for?
There's a Batman one. What was brutal, and then what else?
That's like a
Quasar.
Oh, come on, Mark Grenwald Quasar is a masterpiece compared to this.
Yes,
trust me.
It's being one of the worst ones you've reviewed because it is a lot of text for a football game, and nothing really happens.
Right.
What do you mean nothing really happens? Captain Jack, Mr. Magnificent, he has to become to handle his internal conflict and not murder Ugly Thornton. He has to become a good fella, and not give in to his weakness.
It's a comic book ostensibly about a football players who one of them's a superhero and they solve crimes, and all they do is play football.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, would you want to be football players for that to happen? You don't need any of the other stuff for this issue.
I hear. But apparently Jim Shooter told Tom DeFalco more football. We want it to be because he wanted it to be like really realistic, It
would be like an issue of Superman where Clark Kent just goes and reports on a story, and that's all that happened.
Right.
That would be. Mike L would love to read that.
Well, I mean, hey, I would, but still, it wouldn't be a great issue.
Yeah, I don't think there's any issues of Superman where he just goes to a press conference, asks a question, goes back, writes his copy, and that's the issue.
Yeah, exactly.
But what if he had to go to the press conference and try not to murder someone and then come home? You know? So.
Yeah, Lex Luger leaves him a note that says, "Boy, hope this story's better than your last one, sucker."
Yeah. It's true. This issue does have a plot, but it just zigs and zags in a way that's like really hard to follow. Plus the subplots with the other group, the Fist, it's just I don't know. It's just a big mess.
Yeah, that was kind of shoehorned in there.
Yeah.
But I like the internal conflict of Dasher, you know, struggling with his career, you know, maybe. But then there's this rookie, and then he's relieved, and the rookie got paralyzed. So that's pretty good. And,
Space hooker.
Yeah, we also learned, well, Suicide, we learned he did leave the bar with 2 ladies. So maybe he picked up some space hookers at the bar. So, but Tuffy, would you, did you think Kickers Inc. was better than that Star Wars we did?
No. Star Wars.
I don't know about that.
Star Wars was coherent, yeah.
I actually liked a lot of Kickers Inc. I like the art. I thought
really?
It was, because it was unique. It wasn't like super awesome or anything, but there were some panels in here that I really enjoyed. It was like the inking I thought was cool. Because like that one panel, the close up of his face where he was threatened there and he's worried about the Fist gang. Like they really heavy inked it and everything. I was like, oh, that's pretty cool. And I don't know. I like some of the angles and some of the lines here. And there were a few panels that looked like John Romita Jr. out of 1986. So I actually liked the art. I had no complaints about the art.
I mean, there were a couple good panels, but any half-decent artist could just copy those from another artist, right? Like he might have just literally just ripped them off. I don't know. So
it's pretty good. Tuffy, how'd you feel about the art?
It was fine.
Yeah, it's fine. You don't see many football comic books.
I feel like the artist wasn't a big sports fan either.
Yeah.
Yeah. The way like guys were catching footballs and throwing footballs and running. Yeah. It was more like impressionistic football than actual football. But and I don't know if there was an offensive line, defensive line on this field at ever. There's always just every panel. It's just like 3 guys standing off in space somewhere on the field. Yeah, like no one else around them. But there was a
panel where it says Mr. Magnificent steps back in the pocket, and one of his teammates is diving in front of him, and then there's just 5 players from the other team. That would not be back in the pocket. That is him scrambling for his life.
Well, Joe Burrow, that was like the pocket he had.
Yeah.
So it's another football reference, Michael.
Yeah,
Super Bowl reference. But yeah. So there it is, Kickers Inc. The writing, Terry Kavanagh. Again, it's his first book. Way too much text on each page. Way too much text. And again, the subplots, the internal conflict and stuff with Dasher and Mr. Magnificent. That's great. But that Fist Gang stuff was just shoved in there. It really, I don't know. It didn't have to be there. Right. I don't think. It's okay. Nice little hook at the end, I guess, for DP7. You're excited for DP7.
I am. That's for sure.
Yeah. You going to read the next issue, Michael?
You know what? Actually, I skipped ahead and saw that it's written by Mark Grenwald. So, yes, I might just read it.
Look at that.
Yeah.
There you go. So, all right, Michael, what do you give Kickers Inc. issue number 4?
2 out of 10.
2 out of 10. Tuffy, what do you give Kickers Inc.?
I'll give it a 3.
3? Holy hell. I will give it a 5.
Oh.
Because it is so batshit crazy. I loved it. It's just, again, on the terrible comic book scale, it's pretty good. It's pretty fun. It's pretty good. So, all right, well, there it is, Kickers Inc. I'm sure everyone's going to run right out and read that. So next week, Michael, what do you have for us?
All right, well, I'm going to try and turn this podcast around, get back to doing some good comics. So we're going to do Peacemaker, number 1. Yes. The inspiration for the current TV show, the smash hit show on HBO.
And what year is this, Michael?
This is 1988.
Okay, because again, Peacemaker started in what, Charlton Comics?
Yes, 1960, 66. I was going to do that, but it's too old, so.
Yeah, it's too old, yeah.
I have to jump to this one.
So 1980. Now, Michael, I'm guessing you're not aware of this, but Tuffy is a big fan of the Peacemaker TV show.
Get out of town. Is that true?
Yeah, I got to go watch the last episode when we're done here.
Oh, seriously? No, I'm a huge fan of the show. Which I guess means if you're welcome to come back again next week.
That's right. That's what I was getting at.
I'll come back for Peacemaker. It's definitely Peacemaker's Inc. I know that.
All right. Yeah, I was going to extend the invitation. All right, Tuffy. We'll rope you in for next week as well then. For Peacemaker. Because I've never seen the Peacemaker TV show.
Sure, I don't have any conflicted. Nope. Yep. Wide open.
Tuffy's social life is almost as busy as mine. So it's really tough to get him to do these podcasts. Well, thank you, Tuffy. Yeah, look at that. One show, then 2.5-year break, and then 2 shows in a week.
It's amazing. The record.
Pretty good.
There you go. Okay. So, Mike Dell, are you going to watch the TV show?
I don't got the HBO, whatever it's on.
Oh, okay. All right.
I'll give you a month if you want to watch it.
I appreciate that, Tuffy, but I'll pass. I'm not a fan of that gun fella, but I am a fan of the John Cena, so I could recap some John Cena matches for you next week on the show.
Okay, that'll be your contribution.
Yeah.
There you go. Okay, cool. All right, there you go. So we want to thank Tuffy for joining us for his second time, and be sure to come back next week when he joins us for his third time. And you can find every episode of Flea Market Fantasy on Stitcher, Spotify, Apple Podcasts under Comic Book Syndicate. You can also follow the Syndicate on YouTube, that's right, Twitter, Facebook, and the Comic Book Syndicate website. Each week we review a different Bronze Age comic. 1 week I pick, 1 week Mike Dell picks. So until next Tuesday, disperse!